Thursday, Lavona finally went home to Portland. And in this exclusive interview, she sent a message to Tanya, who she calls by her pet name, Twinkle.
Go to it, little Twinkle. I know she doesn't like that, because it's like calling her baby or babe. She doesn't like that either, but she's still my babe, no matter what.
Lavona also talked about her fainting spell.
I didn't feel anything. I stood up to shake his hand, and then all of a sudden, there's nothing.
Just nothing.
It was just, you know, a combination of asthma and high blood pressure.
She says she received death threats because of the Kerrigan attack.
Continuously followed and harassed, and one gentleman, like, for instance, came up behind me and said, "Watch your back, you're dead." And other people just phoning on the phone and saying, "You die tomorrow." Tanya hasn't done anything, and I haven't done anything. It's not reasonable.
Her relationship with Tanya has been strained for years, and the only time she got to see her was at practice sessions in Portland while she skated her routine. And Lavona still has not spoken to Tanya since her fainting episode.
No, I haven't been able. She was still traveling when it happened. She didn't get there till the next day, and then I was in all different kinds of things.
It wasn't always that way. Lavona was Tanya's biggest backer. She scraped together money for Tanya's skating lessons and sewed all her daughter's costumes. But Lavona says she's had her own hard times. She's been married 7 times, and she admits she wasn't always sure her dreams for her daughter would come true.
I never figured we had that kind of luck, or I never really at first believed that any of our family could ever have that much talent.
And now, after all her struggles, Tanya is finally going for the gold. But Lavona knows her daughter faces fierce competition and may not win a medal.
It's just a bad scene all the way around. Just a shame this whole mess ever happened in the first place.
Still, she cheers Tanya on, even if it's only from a distance.
She's the underdog. They say she can't win. Watch her go.
Halfway across the globe in Lillehammer, Tanya was trying to deal with her own pressure at a packed news conference that drew hundreds of reporters from around the world.
When it's time, I will be ready, and I hope that I can do the best performance of my life, and I hope that I will be able to medal.
How about right now? How do you feel you're skating?
I don't need to be ready right this second.
She spoke of her own suffering.
And when everything's done, then I think I can sit down and cry.
And she tried to downplay the dramatic encounter between her and Nancy Kerrigan during a practice session Thursday. It was the first time the two had met since Kerrigan was assaulted last month.
I don't think it's uncomfortable at all. I think that we each give each other respect on the ice and the area that we both need.
Tanya says she has only nice things to say about her arch rival.
I have a great deal of respect for Nancy. And Nancy and I met briefly, and we had a positive conversation.
But her coach, Diane Rawlinson, did admit the team leader asked Tanya to come late because of all the attention being paid to the ice scandal.
The team leader and I spoke about it, and it was suggested that we not come till later because of all of the controversy.
And she says that the money she could potentially make by winning the ice skating event means less to her than taking home the gold medal.
The most important thing to me is to fulfill my dream and win an Olympic gold. And right now, I'm not thinking about endorsements.
Her mother, who has been accused of pushing Tanya too hard as a child, also seems to have more limited aspirations for her daughter these days.
I just want her to do the best she can, that's all.
Well, Harding and Kerrigan may not want to be together on the ice, but they have been seen together on a street corner. Not in Lillehammer, in the New York town of Amityville. There is actually an intersection there called Kerrigan Road and Harding. When we come back, it's a part of America so dangerous that the most powerful Navy in the world is steering clear. So why are 1 million tourists going there?
A block from here, you'll enter Crack Alley.
That's a very dangerous, very notorious area, and they use automatic weapons and they shoot to kill.
Today on Channel 2 News at 4:30, he's America's heartbreak kid, his struggle and defeat felt by all. Now in his last attempt to go for the gold, Dan Jensen skates the race of his life. Channel 2 News takes you there for his incredible moment of triumph. Then,
Larry Menti from WBBM TV in Chicago. Tanya, they say that you learn from every experience. What did you learn from all of this?
Tanya faces the international press and Channel 2 News. We're live from Norway, today at 4:30 on your Olympic station, Channel 2.
Seaway National Bank proudly presents Illinois' Black History Makers.
Frederick Douglass was born a slave in 1817, but became an orator and American statesman. Douglass was in charge of the Haitian Pavilion at the Columbian Exposition in Chicago, the only representation of black life at the exposition.
Seaway National Bank. Come in or call about our special programs for home improvement loans and mortgages. We've got your keys.
In McAllen, Texas, auto theft was reaching epidemic proportions until the city and its people fought auto theft together with the club and reduced auto theft by over 44%. Fort Wayne, Indiana had the same auto theft problem and put the club to work in their neighborhoods too. The result? Auto theft was reduced by 44% in just 4 months. In addition, not one car was stolen with the club in use, making it 100% effective in keeping cars theft-free.
Accept no imitations. Make sure the anti-theft device you buy says the club on the handle.
A lot of people are buying fitness products they see on infomercials. Unfortunately, things don't always work out. Well, Bally's has a half-hour program that really works. It's called the 30-minute workout. You get in, you get a cardiovascular and strength training workout, you get out. It's just one more reason why Bally's is the best way to get fit. And at only $24 a month, it's one of the most reasonable, too. Call us today at 1-800-FITNESS, if you can squeeze it into your schedule.
The U.S. Navy is the most powerful in the world, so it's shocking that there's a place they think is too dangerous, too violent, too crime-ridden to visit. It isn't the Gulf, and it isn't the Mediterranean. It's a part of America, St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands. But as Elisa White tells us, no one has warned the 1 million American tourists who go there every year.
The ads call it American Paradise. With its beautiful beaches, spectacular scenery, the U.S. Virgin Islands are a carefree playground for vacationers that draws well over 1 million tourists each year. St. Thomas is the largest of the 3 islands and boasts one of the most perfect harbors in the Caribbean. Each day, its docks are filled with the cruise ships that make it the most popular port of call in the world.
A lot of shopping, a lot of nice beaches.
It's wonderful here. The weather is wonderful.
And until recently, the harbor in downtown Charlotte Amalie was especially popular with sailors from the U.S. Navy. Taking a liberty break from their shipboard routine, the sailors enjoyed everything from the beaches to the bars. But now it seems the U.S. Navy knows something about St. Thomas that most U.S. tourists don't. Admiral Ernest Christensen is in charge of all U.S. Navy operations in the Caribbean.
The record of assaults, and they were violent assaults, in St. Thomas was such that they were more significant and there were more of them than any other port that we had U.S. Navy ships visiting anywhere in the world.
Last October, while on leave in St. Thomas, 6 sailors from the USS Saratoga were brutally attacked in a single day. Admiral Christensen ordered a halt to visits there, in effect deeming American Paradise too dangerous for our own Navy. That's right. The Navy has made St. Thomas off-limits to ships taking liberty because of the amount of violence there.
When you see that beauty, you can't imagine there ever being crime and all that violence. You just can't imagine it.
Gil Bartlett's husband, Lieutenant Dana Bartlett, was a helicopter pilot aboard the USS Yorktown. Last June, he briefly left the ship while in port in St. Thomas.
He was in an area that was designated safe. In fact, it was around all the cruise terminals. It was the cruise terminal where all the tour ships are.
After calling his wife in Florida from this phone booth, Lieutenant Bartlett was shot dead at close range as he walked back to his ship. He was a victim of what authorities are now calling a botched random robbery.
Believe me, if I had known, I would have begged my husband never to leave that ship. I don't think people yet look at statistics. You look at the beauty.
But the Navy did look at the statistics, and what they found was shocking. The Navy made 19 port visits to St. Thomas last year. During that period, there were 12 violent crimes committed against Navy personnel. This far outweighs the danger of other ports visited by the Navy. In fact, no port even came close to St. Thomas in terms of the danger it posed to American sailors on leave.
I don't believe that these attacks on the sailors was purposely done in terms of they target the sailors specifically. I believe they were random attacks.
Raymond Hindman is chief of police in the Virgin Islands. He insists that tourists on St. Thomas are safe, but our repeated requests for crime statistics to support his claim went unanswered.
It is not a major problem. We do have our share. As a matter of fact, I will go to say that violent crime decreased in the district of St. Thomas, St. John by 4% for the year 1993.
Brew Pierce is an executive of a company which promotes tourism. While visiting the island last December, he was robbed at gunpoint. Johnny Burkett moved down here from Texas to escape the problems of American big cities, but he didn't escape the violence.
About 3 weeks ago, I was robbed of $60 walking down the street. Two guys jumped out of the bush right at sunset, stuck a .38 in my ribs, and took $60 off of me.
As tourists come off the cruise ships to shop, swim, and enjoy the sun, few of them know of the perils in paradise.
I wouldn't let my parents or my relatives go out at night. The cops have sort of a laissez-faire attitude about, well, if you're out at night, it's your fault. A lot of the tour operators really aren't warning their people to stay in.
Paul Dorsey is a nurse in St. Thomas's only hospital. He knows the part of the island that the Commission on Tourism doesn't include in the commercials or brochures.
A block from here, you'll enter Crack Alley. That's a very dangerous, very notorious area. There are drug posses here. They're very violent. They have no sense of tomorrow, and they use automatic weapons, and they shoot to kill.
A tour of St. Thomas at night reveals something else your travel agent probably won't tell you. Police now find it necessary to set up roadblocks, pulling over vehicles to search for weapons.
You give y'all play your full name, your address, and everything.
Here they can be seen searching for a gunman who fired randomly into a residential neighborhood.
Ask her which side she heard it on.
We are concerned about the number of guns coming into our shores. We are concerned about the number of guns people are walking with or driving around with.
Okay, driver.
Despite what we heard and saw in our brief visit to St. Thomas, officials still maintain tourists shouldn't worry. Eric Dawson is the Commissioner of Economic Development and Tourism.
We get 1.9 or 1,900,000 tourists a year, and very few are victimized.
If in fact that is true, we wanted to know what the Commissioner thought of the Navy's statistics.
Are you surprised to hear that a sailor has a better chance of being victimized in St. Thomas than he does in Miami or New York?
But you have the answer. In a small population where people go where they want to go, you have a small population where a sailor does something or he takes certain kinds of chances and does other things which an ordinary tourist wouldn't take. I mean, that's the answer.
I think that the public's not getting the whole story. I know there's crime everywhere nowadays, but I think that the public should at least have that information and make their own decision if they want to go down.
The Navy's decision to boycott St. Thomas will have a big impact on an island that depends on tourism for economic survival. But Gail Bartlett, for one, is glad that no more sailors will needlessly and naively be risking their lives.
I am relieved that the Navy did that. I'm so thankful because I don't want this to happen to any of Dana's friends. And God forbid any of my friends have to go through what I did, what we went through.
And if you are going on a winter vacation to St. Thomas, be aware that there are dangers. Take the same precautions you would take in any big city. If you go out after dark, take a taxi. Don't go walking alone, and leave your valuables in the hotel safe. And that's good advice wherever you go. When we come back, why America is putting on the pounds, 155 million of them.
You can cross the street and get hit by a car, or you can get up one day and have an earthquake. You should really enjoy life now.
Tuesday, she survived a rape, and when she returned to work, instead of compassion, she got fired. Now American Journal wants to know why.
Do you want a whole world of entertainment right at your fingertips all day, every day? Then turn on the world-class excitement of cable TV. Call today for 24-hour news, sports, the latest music, hilarious comedy, and more. Act now and you'll get an explosive offer that brings you the planet and the stars. Tune in the excitement of Showtime with blockbuster movies, acclaimed originals, and big-time events. HBO really drives home the hits, box office favorites, and exclusive engagements. The Movie Channel has a movie anytime you want one, 24 hours a day. Cinemax has one great movie after another, over 170 a month. This is your last chance to call 1-800-CABLE-ME and get installation for just $9.95, plus 2 premium channels free for 1 month. Don't miss out. Call now for this limited time offer and bring cable and premium TV right into your world.
Grab your pen. Here's how to get Skinny Dip, the amazing Skinny Dip Thigh and Hip Cream. You've heard on TV and in the newspapers that Skinny Dip is an easily absorbed cream that contains an amazing ingredient called aminophylline. Skinny Dip has been reported to smooth the appearance of dimpled and flabby skin simply by rubbing it onto hips and thighs.
It was really amazing how quick something that's a product that you rub on actually made a difference in the appearance of my body.
What you might not know is that Skinny Dip also works on other parts of the body for both men and women. And since you can't find it on store shelves, how in the world can you get your hands on some? Well, we've made it easy for you. Simply have your credit card ready and call this toll-free number or send check or money order for $29.95 plus shipping and handling to the address on the screen.
It's a serious product that actually works. It's not just a bunch of hype. Skinny Dip is real.
Today on Channel 2 News at 4:30, he's America's heartbreak kid, his struggle and defeat felt by all. Now in his last attempt to go for the gold, Dan Jensen skates the race of his life. Channel 2 News takes you there for his incredible moment of triumph. Then,
Larry Menti from WBBM-TV in Chicago. Tanya, they say that you learn from every experience. What did you learn from all of this?
Tanya faces the international press and Channel 2 News. We're live from Norway, today at 4:30 on your Olympic station, Channel 2.
Judging by all the one-calorie drinks, low-calorie processed foods, diet pills, books, and other aids to losing weight that are on the market, Americans should be the slimmest, trimmest people on earth. Forget about it. In the last year, we got fatter. How much fatter? Here's Lauren Terry to break the bad news.
Hey, is it your imagination, or are your pants a little tight? And is it your imagination, or does it seem that people are gaining weight, even on TV? What?
You're getting heavy.
It's not your imagination. According to a Parade magazine survey, Americans gained 155 million pounds last year. Was any of it yours?
About 5 pounds.
About 10 pounds. About 20 pounds. 10 pounds.
Think the beautiful people were immune to the poundage? Even Brooke Shields had trouble squeezing into her clothes until...
Because I lost 12 pounds in 8 weeks on the Ultra Slim Fast plan.
The coast-to-coast gain was almost as much as the weight of the Washington Monument. And speaking of Washington, what hope is there for us when our president is a food lover? The situation's got people thinking that maybe our obsession to starve and strain for the perfect body is over at last.
From our perspective, that's a welcome development.
Psychiatrist Charles Murkowski specializes in eating disorders. He thinks the country's slight weight gain might be a good thing.
it's important that moderation come back and that it be all right to work out for fun and to eat a more balanced diet, which should allow for some red meat, for example.
Last year, the number of beef servings in restaurants jumped by more than a hefty 100 million, according to the Beef Industry Council. Business is booming at this New York steakhouse, and proprietor Greg Sherry says the reason is simple.
People have to enjoy their lives.
Now cross it over. Where are those oblique muscles? That concept is starting to apply in the gym as well.
You, want a beer?
Joe Barron, founder of Definitions Gyms in New York, certainly sees the difference among his customers.
Rather than working out with a trainer 3 or 4 times a week, I think the big trend is they'll probably come in twice a week and maybe grab a massage.
This massage really gives me the energy to move on to my next workout.
Give me a clear sidewalk, guys. Give me a clear sidewalk.
But while the president himself jogs, his Council on Physical Fitness reports that 43% of Americans rarely exercise. The American Dietetic Association found that just 39% of us try to eat right. That's down from 44% the year before. Oh. And by the way, ice cream sales are on the rise, according to the latest figures.
Everybody likes ice cream.
Even the weight experts are vulnerable to fatty temptations.
Did I gain weight? I probably did gain weight.
So if the scale gives you bad news, keep in mind that 1 in 4 Americans is on a diet, and the rest of us are philosophers.
Here today, gone tomorrow. You can cross the street and get hit by a car, or you can get up one day and have an earthquake.
Hey, don't eat my french fries.
So you should really enjoy life now.
Doesn't that make you hungry? As a nation, we are the most obsessed with losing weight. It's just that we aren't very good at it. Right now, there are 30 million Americans on a diet, and half of us will give up after just a couple of weeks. More for you on American Journal when we come back.
It was right after the kids were born. My skin got red, irritated. It was dry.
That's when you started using Vaseline Intensive Care?
Yes. I don't know how it works, but it works great.
Think about it like this. Watch.
Nothing's happening.
The lotion doesn't dissolve right away. Its moisturizers are absorbed into your dry skin to help it form a better barrier.
Against what?
Water damage.
No wonder I love it.
From Intensive Research comes Intensive Care Dry Skin Formula.
Something missing from dinner? This'll help. New Lipton Golden Sauté Pasta. Delicate pasta, zesty herbs and seasonings, a yummy sauté taste you'll love. New Golden Sauté Pasta. You gotta try it.
Chicken Tonight simmer sauces from Ragu are so delicious, everyone's saying,
I feel like chicken tonight, like chicken tonight.
Try Country French chicken, julienne vegetables, and a sauce with sweet cream and wine. Mmm.
Chicken tonight.
Have you seen his meat?
It looks so disgusting.
On the next People's Court, after he'd shot the biggest elk he'd ever seen.
It weighed 680 pounds. It was a huge elk.
Did he steal the best elk he'd ever eaten?
To add salt to the wound, the elk steaks were being barbecued next door.
And the steak is like that.
They're huge.
Huge steaks.
Come and get it.
I needed that meat for my family.
Watch the next People's Court.
Today at 4, right here on 2.
Now that winter is almost over, you're ready for Empire's Good News Carpet Sale. New carpets, new styles, new colors, all at 20 to 60% off, including padding and next day installation. Even same day with Empire Express service. And no interest or monthly payments until sunny July. But don't rush right out. We'll come to you. Just call and get the good news from Empire.
588-2300 Empire.
While our athletes are winning gold in Norway, their families are being ripped off. That's next time on American Journal. Here's a preview.
How much would you pay to attend the Winter Olympics? Greedy businessmen are taking advantage of Americans going to Norway. American Journal's undercover camera shows you, and our trip to Lillehammer exposes the rip-offs.
That's next time, and that's all for today. We leave you now with a look at the Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl victory parade. I'm Nancy Glass. Please join us again for another American Journal.
Judge Wapner's fed up when a hunter accuses his friend of eating his prize elk. The People's Court coming up next, followed by Channel 2 News at 4:30.
Some people celebrate President's Day by watching an old movie. Others by cheering on a history-making sale at the Bedding Experts, Chicagoland's largest Sealy retailer. It's our President's Day sale with mattresses as low as $44. All sizes of our famous Posturepedic are 60% off.
Every American deserves a Sealy.
During this sale, get 0% interest for 6 months. Call 800-543-4BED. The Bedding Experts. Sale ends Monday.
It used to be, when drug traffickers crossed a county line, county prosecutors couldn't go after them. For 20 years, prosecutors asked for help, and the politicians said no. Roland Burris changed that. As Attorney General, he passed the statewide grand jury law to go after multi-county drug trafficking.
We saw a problem and we fixed it. It's time state government faced up to what's wrong in Illinois, and that's why I'm running for governor.
Roland Burris for governor. It's time to get it right.
At Centennial Mortgage Company, our business is helping homeowners achieve their dreams and goals. Since 1985, we have built our reputation by offering home mortgages designed to help people in almost every possible credit or income situation. Our goal at Centennial is to provide each of our customers with the home financing plan that lends them a helping hand to a better future. So call Centennial now. And remember, even if other lenders couldn't help, Centennial can.
Today on Channel 2 News at 4:30, he's America's heartbreak kid, his struggle and defeat felt by all. Now in his last attempt to go for the gold, Dan Jensen skates the race of his life. Channel 2 News takes you there for his incredible moment of triumph. Then,
Larry Menti from WBBM-TV in Chicago. Tanya, they say that you learn from every experience. What did you learn from all of this?
Tanya faces the international press and Channel 2 News. We're live from Norway. Today at 4:30 on your Olympic station, Channel 2. This top model's looks are keeping her from the career she wants. Tomorrow at 10.
This is the plaintiff, Johnny C. Frenchman, and his son, Johnny. He claims after shooting a 680-pound elk, he stored it in the defendant's cooler, only to discover a few days later that the 500-pound hindquarters were missing, and he wants the defendant to pay for the theft of the prime meat. He's suing for $2,000. This is the defendant, Kevin Song, an owner of Micron's Liquor. He says one of the huge hunks of meat in his refrigerator was bleeding all over the place, so he had his helper throw it away. Bottom line, he did his neighbor a favor by letting him store the gross stuff in the cooler where he keeps his stock of soda, beer, and wine. He's accused of elk rustling. What you are witnessing is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in a California municipal court. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their court cases and have their dispute settled here in our forum, the People's Court.
Hello, I'm Doug Llewellyn, and welcome to the People's Court. This is the case of Where's the Elk? Now, the plaintiff claims that because of hard times, he needed the elk meat to feed his family. And he is very upset that a few days after the theft, he saw the defendant's cousin barbecuing one of his 39-inch elk steaks. The defendant contends that he didn't even know what an elk was until the plaintiff told him, and in any event, the guy got everything back but the bloody piece. So let us watch now as Judge Wapner hears both sides of the story in this most incredible dispute.
The People's Court case number 4093, Frenchman versus Micron's Liquor for $2,000. All rise, please.
You may be seated. I know that each of you has been sworn. I've read your complaint, sir.
You claim that you stored some elk meat in the defendant's cooler
Yes, sir.
and it wasn't returned to you?
No, sir.
All right. How much elk meat did you store there?
I store 4 pieces.
Well,
The front shoulders, the ribs, and the 2 hindquarters.
okay. Did you know the defendant before this?
Yes.
How long had you known him?
3-4 years.
Okay. Were you paying him for storing the meat?
No,
Okay. Was he there when you brought it in?
no. He told me it'll be there when you go ahead and put it in there, and it'll be there when you're ready for it.
Did you tell him when you'd be ready for it?
I told him that I'd have to leave it in there 3-4 days.
Okay. Is that what he told you, sir?
No, Your Honor.
What did he tell you?
Regarding the storage
Yes.
period?
Well, first of all, did you agree that he could store the elk meat there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Did he tell you how much was going to be stored?
No, Your Honor.
You didn't ask him.
First, he told me that he shot an elk. It was lying in his truck's bed or something. And if he doesn't store it, it'll be spoiled and thrown away.
So you let him store it?
Yes, Your Honor.
What happened to it?
Next day I came over to my store. Our store is not, it's a simple beer wine sale. No produce or meat department. And then I saw the, 3 pieces lying on the floor, and it was all bloody.
Floor where?
The cooler floor.
In the cooler?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I saw, one of the bloody pieces. And then in our store operation, every salesman, beer or cola, every salesman come in Monday. And then I couldn't, identify it's a human body or, animal body. It looks so disgusting. So I told my helper, one of my employees, to throw one of them out because it looked so bloody.
Did you know it was the elk?
Your Honor, I didn't know
What else could it be?
I didn't know what was an elk in the first place, Your Honor.
Well, I understand that. But that was the only thing being stored in your cooler other than the beer and wine, right?
Yes.
Did you call him up and say, this is bloody and I got...
No, I went look for him up to his house, but I couldn't find his car, so I came down and I told my employee to dump into the trash can.
How much of this elk did you dump into the trash can?
It was like a 1 milk carton worth. At the beginning, he did offer we could share the elk meat by storing it so. So I throw one piece out. I'm sure it covers what he mentioned, that we could share the elk meat together, and he doesn't keep his promise. You know, he's violating the bilateral...
When did he say that he would share the elk meat with you?
I beg your pardon, sir?
When did he say that he would share the elk meat with you?
At the time that he asked me if he could store it. Then if he could store it, we could share the elk meat.
In what proportion were you going to share it?
He did not specify, Your Honor.
Did you ever talk about sharing the elk meat?
No, sir. I did not say I'd share it. I needed that meat for my family. That's why I say...
What were this hind quarter worth, sir, that was...
I have 2 documents right there. And he said you could call them.
$10 a pound?
And the other one's $20 a pound.
What other one?
It's the letter.
Well, how many pounds were there, sir?
Oh, roughly over 400 pounds that was missing. That's all the weight's in is the hindquarters of the elk. They're all nothing but steaks.
What are these people? Are these people here to testify for you?
Yes, sir.
For what?
Liz Prosser. She was, well, on the porch when they was barbecuing a steak like that.
Well, let me hear from her. Yes, ma'am?
Oh, well, to add salt to the wound, the elk steaks were being barbecued next door at relatives.
At relatives?
Yeah, relatives of Kevin's.
They live next door to you?
They live across the street, and he lives, you know...
How do you know there were elk steaks being barbecued?
The smell. The smell. And
and the steak is like that.
They're huge.
Huge steaks.
And they were also seen carrying it in.
Did the fellow you told us throw the meat out, was that one of your cousins or relatives?
No, Your Honor.
Did you barbecue or your cousin's relatives barbecue any of this elk steak?
Your Honor, I don't even know what was elk at the time.
Okay. And you could tell by the smell that it was elk?
Oh, it's not a beef smell. It's, you know, it's a different kind of odor.
You never went over there to find out for sure?
No, no, I didn't.
Okay. All right. Did you ever weigh it?
Yes, I weighed it in Utah. It dressed it out 680 pounds, the elk dressed. I got a big cow. I got there too late to get a bull permit, so the only thing they had left was a cow's permit, and I paid $272 for the license in Utah. For the
I'm not talking about. I'm not worried about a license here. I'm talking about how much this weighed.
They weighed it when I shot it. And they, after the hide and the head and the intestines removed, it weighed 680 pounds. It was a huge elk.
Okay, we'll take a short recess. I'll come back and give you my decision.
Your Honor, can I say one more thing?
Yes, sir.
Since he does claim that it was elk meat, it's so expensive. I was wondering that if he has a proper license to shot an elk, so it sure identifies it was elk meat. Does he have a proper license to ensure that's elk meat? So I didn't know what's elk meat. I don't know what's the worth of it. If it's proper value and the proper was stolen, I'll be glad to pay for it. But can we make sure somehow it's an elk? And only way to find out that is he has a proper license to shoot an elk.
No, that wouldn't be the only way to find out. People shoot animals when they don't have license to do it. And there's no bearing on whether or not it's an elk. We'll take a recess. I'll come back.
Well, if you were the judge, how do you think you would decide this case? Would you find for the plaintiff, or would you find for the defendant? We'll be back to Judge Wapner's verdict in just a moment.
Observe dry eyes, red eyes, symptoms for which science created Clear Eyes. Unlike the other leading eye drop, Clear Eyes removes redness and as an ingredient to moisturize. The difference is clear. Clear Eyes.
Remember the great taste of homemade tuna casserole? Remember how long it took? Try Tuna Helper Creamy Noodles. It makes a great tasting stovetop casserole in 20 minutes. Tuna Helper.
Are you hungry? Yeah, but what do you think they feed you at a health spa? All the rabbit food you can eat?
This doesn't look bad. Craft-free ranch dressing. I eat this at home.
Fat-free, cholesterol-free. Sounds like a real treat.
Oh, just try it. So what do you think?
Are you sure this is fat-free? Tastes like the ranch I eat.
Kraft-free ranch non-fat dressing. If it tastes too good to be fat-free, it's Kraft-free.
I may just make it through the end of the week.
Today on Channel 2 News at 4:30, he's America's heartbreak kid, his struggle and defeat felt by all. Now in his last attempt to go for the gold, Dan Jensen skates the race of his life. Channel 2 News takes you there for his incredible moment of triumph. Then,
Larry Menti from WBBM TV in Chicago. Tanya, they say that you learn from every experience. What did you learn from all of this?
Tanya faces the international press and Channel 2 News. We're live from Norway. Today at 4:30 on your Olympic station, Channel 2.
Watch out for the savings this week at Jewel. Going on a diet? Then stock up on Weight Watchers frozen entrees. All varieties are 33% off. Buy a grade A fresh Purdue oven stuffer roaster. Get another of equal or lesser value free with coupon. And stay refreshed with plenty of Boku juices. Get 2 free packs for only $3. For eye-catching values.
Well, after considering the testimony in this most unusual dispute, our courtroom observers, the overwhelming majority of them, do agree the plaintiff should prevail and should be awarded a $2,000 judgment. So let us find out now what Judge Wapner has decided.
Remain seated and come to order. This court is again in session.
In the law, this is known as a gratuitous bailment. Plaintiff leaves the meat with the defendant. He's not getting paid for this, but he undertakes to allow the plaintiff to store the meat, the elk meat, in the cooler, which means that the defendant now has to take slight care of the meat. He says he sees the piece of meat on the floor of the cooler and it's a lot of blood around, so he throws the piece out. Can't do that. Either notify him, got to find him some way, or you clean it up and leave it there, but you can't just willy-nilly throw it away. You're not taking care of it. That's not slight care. That's no care at all. It's almost amounts to conversion. A conversion would be that you're converting it to your own use. Here you're apparently not converting it to your own use, you're just throwing it away. And you can't do that. The plaintiff is entitled to a judgment for $2,000.
So Judge Wapner finds for the plaintiff in this dispute. He awards the plaintiff $2,000. Mr. Song, the defendant's just come out of the courtroom. How do you feel about that judgment, sir?
Well, I'm not feel comfortably. I feel this is somewhat, I can't brag it to discrimination, but I just don't feel comfortable that he mentioned that about, caring. However, he forgot about sharing the meat. And I feel very uncomfortable about Judge Wapner.
Well, he claimed that he did not agree to share the meat with you. You heard him say that.
Well, that's his word against my word.
Absolutely. Obviously, the judge believed him.
Yeah. I saw him on TV all the time, and I really liked him. I guess this is a turning point that I don't like him anymore. He sure are. I feel very, uncomfortable with him now.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay,
That's the judge's decision. Officer Burrell has a couple of documents for you to sign. Now, Mr. Frenchman, the plaintiff is on his way out of the courtroom. You look rather pleased, are you?
Yes.
You happy with the judge's decision?
Yes. Well, this may be my last hunting trip. I have cancer real bad. But I waited 4.5 years ago hunting and have someone steal the hindquarters, and they ate it right in front of me. I was going to use a 2x4 on him.
You said you waited 4.5 years. Why did you wait 4.5 years?
I've been in and out the hospital. Every time I go hunting, I end up in the hospital. My leg swells up and my stomach bothers my stomach. And the only thing that saved me this time, didn't have to do any walking. 10 minutes after I got there, I shot the elk. A whole herd ran right in front of me.
You're kidding. Weren't you scared?
No. One bullet, one elk.
Well, listen, thank you very much. Congratulations. All right, Officer Burrell has a couple of documents you must sign. We appreciate it. And that'll bring this case to a close. The litigants for our next case are now on their way into the courtroom.
This is the plaintiff, Norman Tucker, owner of TNT Tickets. He claims after selling the defendant 2 fourth-row tickets to the James Taylor concert at a very low price, she had the gall to stop payment on her check after she attended the concert. He's suing for $140, the cost of the tickets. This is the defendant, Lori Curry. She says she went to see her all-time favorite, James Taylor. However, 20 minutes into the show, she and her friend Pam were asked to leave by the security guards. The tickets the plaintiff had sold them turned out to be fakes, and they were sitting in someone else's seats. She's accused of taking advantage of a ticket seller. We'll return for the case of Will the Real James Taylor Tickets Please Sit Down after these messages.
With every dealer advertising the same prices for 94 Oldsmobiles, what'll it take for you to buy one from me? Because I'll do it. I'll do whatever it takes. I'm Erwin Weil, and Weil Olds in Libertyville. Want more money for your trade-in? I'll do whatever it takes. You tell me what it'll take to make the deal. I'll do whatever it takes for you to get your new Olds from me. So if it means more money for your trade-in or something else, I'll do it. I'll do whatever it takes to make it worth your while at Weil Olds in Libertyville.
It's a beautiful place in the country. You with cold cereal?
Yes, ma'am.
Quaker toasted oatmeal.
Greens, the Quaker oatmeal on every oatmeal flake. Same good stuff as the hot.
Well, they sure like it.
Quaker toasted oatmeal. It's my other oatmeal.
Mine, too.
We're out here in the middle of nowhere.
Dana Carvey and Nicolas Cage endured 50 below temperatures in their new film, but they sure didn't go hungry. Find out how they were able to survive on snow alone.
When I'm hungry, it kind of gives me a little charge.
And while they'll never eat mashed potatoes again. Then, this sexy young model auditioned for a 2-line part and landed the leading role. They're calling her the next Michelle Pfeiffer, and you'll see why only on the next E.T.
Tonight at 6:30, right here on 2.
Seaway National Bank. Come in or call about our special programs for home improvement loans and mortgages. We've got your keys.
A furniture sale is only as big as the furniture store. So where's the biggest? Homemakers. Where else? Everything's on sale this President's weekend. Every living room, the biggest selection in Chicago. Every dining room, the biggest selection in Chicago. Every bedroom, every mattress, in fact, everything the eye can see. Plus, there's an extra 9% off so you can pretend there's no sales tax. Who else could have a President's weekend sale as big as John M. Smith's Homemakers?
Dina Carvey and Nicolas Cage will never eat mashed potatoes again, and they say she's the next Michelle Pfeiffer.
This is the case of will the real James Taylor tickets please sit down? Now, according to the plaintiff, he says the tickets that he sold the defendant were genuine, and he says he can prove it. The defendant states she was totally embarrassed when she was kicked out of the concert and is very upset that she never got to see her favorite performer. So let's find out more about this unusual dispute as the litigants talk to Judge Wapner.
I know that you've each been sworn, and I've read your complaint, sir. Claim the defendant won't pay you for some tickets that
Yes, Your
she
Honor.
bought. Okay, and she stopped payment on a check.
Yes, Your Honor.
That was for, what, $130?
The check total was $137, and then we had a $3...
$137.
Yes, sir.
All right, $3 for the
stop payment.
stop payment. Okay. When did you sell her these tickets?
We sold those tickets on October the 13th, the day of the concert,
Where was the concert being held?
in Costa Mesa at the Pacific Amphitheater.
Why'd you stop payment on the check, ma'am?
I bought the tickets from TNT Tickets because they were the best price, best
No,
seats.
just tell me why you stopped payment.
Because we didn't see the concert.
Why didn't you see the concert?
The usher explained to us we had duplicate tickets as someone else and told us that our tickets were fake and told us that we had to stand against the wall, which we were not able to see the concert.
You mean you stayed there for the entire concert?
Most of the concert, it got to the point where I was very embarrassed, my girlfriend was very embarrassed, so we did leave.
Well, how much of the concert did you see?
Well, we saw the first 20 minutes. The rest of the time we were standing up against the back wall, so we couldn't see anything at all.
You have the ticket stub?
Yes, I do.
You have
Also a letter from my witness.
Your witness. How about the theater itself?
No, I don't have anything from them.
Sir, are these the ticket stubs, tickets you sold her?
Yes, they are.
Do you
What I brought was some tickets from Ticketron, okay? They're the exact same tickets as what she has. I have a receipt from where I bought them. I have a purchase order that I purchased 5 tickets that night, and I sold her 2 of them. There you go. And these are the other tickets for a different show. On the back of the ticket, Your Honor, it has a number, and that number, it can be tracked down.
But who does the tracking?
Well, usually in a case like this, this is the first time I ever been involved.
It never happened to you before?
Never happened to me before. And I've been in business about 1.5 years.
You and your friend were not sitting together?
No, we were sitting, they're called piggyback seats, which there's one in front of the other.
Did you ask the usher to check the other person's ticket?
Yes, he looked at both of our tickets.
Did he tell you why these were fake and the others weren't?
No, he didn't.
Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
I called the Pacific Amphitheater on November the 28th, and I talked to a Derek, who is the theater manager, and he claims that no one got kicked out of the James Taylor concert.
You have an
for fake
affidavit
tickets.
from him?
He wouldn't give me one, but I do have his name and number.
No, well,
He wouldn't even get involved, but...
And you, sir?
I just sold her. I went and picked up the tickets with Norm at the where he has the receipt from, and I also I sold her the tickets. And I told her that they were piggyback seats, and she explained that they were her favorite concert and so forth. That's why we gave her a reduced rate because of the fact that they were behind each other.
Basically, Your Honor, if they were fake tickets, I wouldn't be in front of you trying to pursue this. You know, I run a valid ticket agency in Mission Viejo, and we got a very good reputation. And
You bought tickets there before?
No, I haven't.
All right, take a short recess. I'll come back, give you my decision.
thank you.
Whose testimony did the judge find to be most convincing in this dispute? Was it the plaintiff or the defendant? We'll be back to find out right after this pause.
You know, people who start chewing Freedent because it won't stick to most dental work keep chewing it because it tastes great. That's why they stick with the gum that won't. Non-stick Freedent, the perfect gum for almost perfect teeth.
Only Jell-O puts the wiggle in a cup.
Did that wobble? Did that wiggle?
Nothing has the fruity wiggles and genuine jiggles of Jell-O gelatin.
Now that Jell-O put the wiggle in a cup.
It was right after the kids were born. My skin got red, irritated. It was dry.
That's when you started using Vaseline Intensive Care?
Yes. I don't know how it works, but it works great.
Think about it like this. Watch.
Nothing's happening.
The lotion doesn't dissolve right away. Its moisturizers are absorbed into your dry skin to help it form a better barrier.
Against what?
Water damage.
No wonder I love it.
From Intensive Research comes Intensive Care Dry Skin Formula.
Maybe anglers are blessed with a sixth sense, and fishermen are as wise as the ocean is old. Whatever it is, at Dominic's we'd like to think some of it has rubbed off on us. We've learned that lake tides affect the flavor of whitefish, and the best swordfish are only caught under a full moon. So rather than look for the best deals in the boardroom, we look for the best men in the boats. Dominic's. Even our thinking is fresh.
The defendant prevails in our courtroom poll. Judge Wapner's decision is coming up next.
Put Velveeta in, leave the lookalikes out. Mix the salsa in, pop it in and pull it out.
Use some lookalike? Who knows what may come out?
With Velveeta, there's no doubt. Put Velveeta in, leave the lookalikes out. Mix the salsa in, pop it in and pull it out. Now you got a tasty salsa dip that's really gonna make them shout. Velveeta!
Velveeta cooks better.
That's what it's all about. Velveeta!
This is really new.
Leave it to Clairol. It's not a new hair color.
Not just another shampoo for colored hair.
It's the new Clairol Color Hold System. The way to hold on to perfect color between colorings. Daily shampoos and conditioners, plus the twice-a-week color refresher.
It keeps my blonde brilliant. My red ravishing.
The breakthrough is the color refresher. Just choose your shade. Use it in the shower and hold on to perfect color week after week after week. The new Color Hold System, only from Clairol.
Hold on to perfect color.
Good afternoon. Next on 2 News at 4:30, the Heartbreak Kid, speed skater Dan Jansen finally grabs the gold.
I'm just relieved.
We have live team coverage from Lillehammer to Dan's hometown just outside Milwaukee. Then Tony Harding speaks out about Nancy Kerrigan going for the gold in one of her most embarrassing moments. Also ahead, terror in the air. A plane makes a crash landing, sending sparks flying. And the private side of Playboy's Christy Hefner. She's one of Chicago's most powerful women. And we're working a breaking story. A police shooting ends in a teenager's death. We're live in the scene. All this coming up here next.
Well, the plaintiff's testimony failed to convince our courtroom observers. They definitely side with the defendant in this dispute. So let's learn now what Judge Wapner's decision is.
Remain seated and come to order. This court is again in session.
The plaintiff presents a prima facie case. He sold tickets. He's been given a check, stopped payment on the check. He's suing on the check, basically. So that's his prima facie case. The defendant then has to show by a preponderance of the evidence, he has to tip the scales just a little more than he does, these tickets were fake. But other than the fact that you say you were told that you couldn't sit there and that they were fake, no other proof. You should have gotten something from this theater, wherever the show was, to indicate that. You can't just give up and say, well, who's to say the other tickets are good and yours are no good? Maybe the others are duplicates. I don't know. But he purchased them, paid good money for them, and he sold them to you. You just haven't proven by a preponderance of the evidence that they're fake. I'm sorry you didn't enjoy the concert like you should have, especially since this was your favorite, but so be it. Judgment was plaintiff for $140.
So the plaintiff does prevail, Miss Curry. The defendant's on her way out of the courtroom. How do you feel about the judge's decision, Mark?
Well, I'm not happy, but it's, you know, I should have talked to the usher and gotten something from him or taken it further than that.
I mean, I was going to ask you, why didn't you go to the management of the arena or something to get someone to tell you why they were fake?
I don't know. I was just embarrassed because we had to get out of our seats, and it was just an embarrassing situation.
How was the part of the concert that you did see?
Oh, it was great. The first 20 minutes was wonderful.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Officer Burrell is waiting for you to sign some documents. Now the plaintiff is on his way out of the courtroom. Well, how do you feel about the judge's decision there?
Well, I knew they were real seats. I feel okay.
The lowest
Terry,
prices.
The lowest price. Well, she said that, but you can feel for her, obviously.
Well, I feel bad for her. I think what I'll do is if she decides to buy off me again, we'll definitely take care of her. I can't guarantee they're going to be duplicates because that happens sometimes, but we'll take care of her.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Officer Burrell's waiting for you, and that'll bring this case to a close. It will also wrap it up for another session of the People's Court. For now, I'm Doug Llewellyn, thanking you for joining us and reminding you, if you make a deal with someone and then they break it, don't take the law into your own hands. You take them to court.
The People's Court is produced by Ralph Edwards Stu Billett Productions and is distributed by Warner Brothers Domestic Television.
From WBBM-TV Chicago, this is Channel 2 News at 4:30.
From tragedy to triumph, Dan Jansen, the Heartbreak Kid, finally beats the jinx to win Olympic gold. And while Dan skates, Tanya talks about a new controversy, Nancy Kerrigan and going for the gold. Dan and Tanya are the stars of the show in Lillehammer today, a tale of two athletes, two skaters, making news in Norway. Good afternoon, I'm Joan Lovett in for Linda.
And I'm Lester Holt. We began with a huge and heartwarming story out of speed skating. This was Dan Jansen's last chance at an Olympic gold medal after years of frustration. He fell twice during the 1988 Olympics and again failed to win a medal in 1992. He also slipped in his race on Monday, so it all came down to today's race, and Jansen made the most of it. We have team coverage of Dan Jansen's victory, starting with Corey McFerrin in Lillehammer.
Dan Jansen's Olympic nightmare today turned into a golden dream. In the final race of his Olympic career, Jansen not only won the gold medal, but blazed to a world record in the 1,000 meters at the Viking ship in Hammer, and finally was Olympic champion.
Yeah, finally. I guess that's all there was left for me, and I'm just so relieved right now. It's over, and I finally got a happy ending out of this.
With the elusive gold medal finally his, the emotions gushed forward from Jansen, from his parents, from his wife Robin. And when Jansen carried his 9-month-old daughter Jane with him on the victory lap, there were few dry eyes in the arena.
The celebration and the meaning of this will come as I have more time to think about it. Right now, I'm just relieved.
Relief quickly gave way to a patriotic party at the Jansen apartment in Hammer. Flowers from well-wishers, congratulatory phone calls from home, autograph requests, and in the true spirit of Jansen's hometown, Milwaukee, beer and pizza were delivered.
Beg me, pizza!
And of course, there was the now traditional call from the Commander-in-Chief.
The whole country is happy for me, and he said he admires coming back after disappointment.
I don't know where I'm gonna go when the volcano blows.
The Jansen clan didn't win any gold medals for their rendition of Dan's favorite song, but their enthusiasm was evident. Jansen always said he wanted to win for these people, his family, his friends, his wife and baby, and for the millions of Americans who tried to share Dan's pain and defeat and to root him on to victory. But in the end...
I didn't want to let him down again, but I just said, well, this is for me, they want it, but it's for me most of all, and so I just went out and skated.
We're coming to you live now from the store Gata in Lillehammer, and what an emotional day today as the Heartbreak Kid becomes the golden boy in a matter of 1 minute and 12 seconds. Had to be the single most emotional moment I've ever covered in my 17 years as a sports reporter and a sportscaster. Just a tremendous moment. You'll be able to watch it all, of course, tonight on CBS, and then tonight at 10 we'll take you back and talk to some of the family members and the folks closest to Dan. We talked to Dan today and asked him, were you prepared if things didn't work out today? Would you have been able to handle it? And he said, yeah, I had my wife and my baby. I would have gone back to Milwaukee and been very happy, but this makes me all that much more happy. I got a smile on my face as we head for home. But a great day for Americans, probably the greatest day in the history of speed skating, except for Eric Heidenbeck in 1980, as far as the emotion is concerned. That's it for now. We are live in Lillehammer. Back to you now.
Corey, I can't wait to see the race on the CBS primetime coverage tonight, but in reading the accounts of it, he apparently started to falter again. What went through his mind at that moment?
He said, I just had to stay calm. I had to not panic and just remember to be smooth and stride out. He did falter a little bit. In a 500 race, that might have cost him, but in the 1,000, a mistake like that isn't as significant. So he said he had to remain calm and just smooth it out. And he said the main concentration was on the final 300 meters of the race, and that's where he really did well to pick up the gold by a large portion, by the way, by a large margin, by the way.
All right, Corey, thanks very much.
Thanks, Corey.
Okay.
Well, as you can imagine, everybody is celebrating the good news in Dan Jansen's hometown, the Milwaukee suburb of West Allis, Wisconsin. Today, at last, that Olympic monkey is off Jansen's back. Team coverage continues now with Channel 2's Anita Smith.
Yes! Dan Jansen's big brother Dick and his family had only seen the scoreboard, did not have to view the race to be overjoyed, especially after a rough start.
We just had some bad luck in the last three times in the Olympics, and then from the win the 1,000 when the public probably didn't expect it, but we did.
The speed skater's other family also expected it, and here is colorful reaction. Signs of congratulations are posted all over Pettit National Ice Center, where Jansen trains, also where the nation's 5th best speed skater trains. John Singer didn't make the Olympic team, but he's on Dan's team.
It's what he deserves. He's the best skater in the world, and now he's got the medal to show it.
It's the kind of event that just makes you feel happy all over, so what better place for West Allis locals to celebrate than the Happy Tap? That's where a lot of folks are today. That's where Jansen's cousin serves up beer and lots of cheer. These are Dan's fans, with him through the ups and downs of his roller coaster Olympic career to the stellar gold medal finish.
First thing I heard on TV was, yeah, he had the gold record. There were 35 skaters to go. Next thing I heard, he was still in the lead. There were 23 skaters to go. And then finally on the radio, I heard that he'd had the gold, and that was it.
What'd you do?
I kind of broke down a little bit, very emotional, yeah. I was happy for him.
There were naysayers, but in the end, the gold comes home to West Allis. Anita Smith, Channel 2 News.
The Jansen family and their friends will watch his gold medal performance on a big screen TV tonight. Our Jay Levine will be there, and he'll have that story on Channel 2 News at 10.
Our other big story from the Olympic Games, Tonya Harding speaks out at a news conference in Lillehammer, and she says she's embarrassed and ashamed to see nude pictures of her on the front page of a Norwegian newspaper. Surrounded by figure skating officials, Harding refused to discuss the attack on Nancy Kerrigan, but she did confront those pictures, copied from a tabloid TV program in the United States.
I am very upset, and I am ashamed. I'm embarrassed, and the one thing I have to say is if everyone could put themselves in my position, and how would you feel?
Harding said she and Nancy Kerrigan respect each other and there is no tension between them. She said faith in God has helped her concentrate on her skating under this intense media pressure, and she says all she cares about is winning the gold medal for her team and her country. When that's done, she says she can sit down and cry.
Well, exciting Olympic action continues here on Channel 2 tonight at 7 o'clock. Tonight's schedule features the Nordic combined event and the graceful sport of ice dancing. And, of course, men's speed skating, where you can see all of Dan Jansen's gold medal performance and the men's double luge. That's tonight at 7 o'clock right here on Channel 2.
A couple of solid leads are making police optimistic today about catching a rapist on the northwest side. A man attacked a 14-year-old girl as she walked to Taft High School Thursday morning. But while police search for the rapist, students are taking their own precautions. Channel 2's John Davis has the story.
Most students at Taft High School only heard about the latest sexual attack when they came to school this morning. The principal making the announcement over the intercom and asking students who might have seen the assailant to provide that information to police.
We shouldn't have to, like, you know, watch where we're going just to get to school and stuff, and it's terrible. It is. We can't even walk to school anymore.
The latest attack occurred yesterday morning around 7:30 as the female student, a 14-year-old, walked alone to school. Police believe the assailant stalked her for about a block before abducting her as she entered a nearby pedestrian tunnel. Police say the man apparently abducted the girl as she was coming through the tunnel. He says at this point at the mouth of the tunnel, he put a gun to her, marched her up this slight incline, and into his car, which was parked here on Avondale, just a half a block from the school. Police say the man then drove away with the girl inside an older model maroon two-door car. The attacker is described as a white or Hispanic male, 5 feet 10 inches to 6 feet tall, short wavy hair and a thick black mustache. He was last seen wearing a white striped hooded top and black and white gym shoes. And until police catch the man, female students at Taft say they intend to take precautions.
I used to walk under the underpass to come to school alone, and I'm obviously not going to do that anymore. I'm going to get a ride from my mom or dad. I'm just not going to go under there at all anymore.
Officials at the Northwest Side School are also asking police to step up patrols around the campus during school hours. On the Northwest Side, John Davis, Channel 2 News.
And John referenced this as being the latest attack. In fact, police say the same man may be responsible for another sexual assault near that same pedestrian tunnel 1 month ago.
An angry police chief in suburban Matson says a mishap in an office 2,000 miles away forced him to set an accused child molester free. 37-year-old Joseph Bernard Davis is wanted for molesting 2 little girls in Spokane, Washington. Matson police arrested him on another charge, but they had to let him go when police in Spokane said that they didn't think their prosecutor would foot the bill to bring him back. Today, the Spokane County prosecutor says if he had known, he would have ordered the extradition. Meanwhile, Davis is said to be on his way to Florida.
A high-speed chase with a phony cop leading the pack. A motorist masquerading as a police officer led the real cops on a wild chase that ended with a multi-car pileup. It all began when police tried to pull over a car. The driver placed a flashing blue light on his dash, like the kind used by detectives. Then he took off. Cops followed him to Foster and Broadway, where he crashed into several cars. 8 people were injured, none seriously. They were treated at hospitals and released.
The father of some of the 19 children found in a filthy Chicago apartment has been arrested near the home. Gregory Turner is the father of 5 of those kids whose discovery shocked the nation. He was arrested along with 4 other men after neighbors complained that drugs were being sold outside. At least one of the men was charged with drug possession. Turner was charged with disorderly conduct. He already faces charges of child neglect.
We'd like to remind our viewers you can help fight child abuse, and we're asking you to do so as part of our Caring for Kids campaign. If you know of a child or a family in trouble, here's a place that can help. It's the Children's Home and Aid Society here in Chicago. It's located on the near north side. And here's a telephone number. It's area code 312-944-3313. They can provide casework services or put you in touch with people trained to deal with child neglect and or child abuse, including sexual abuse. And we thank you for your help in helping us help kids in trouble.
Still ahead in just 2 minutes, a police shooting ends in the death of a teenaged boy. And then a big stink over tons of trash piling up at Chicago schools. We'll tell you why no one's picking it up.
And a woman who made history at a men's college finds out she's a target for trouble.
Watching Channel 2 News at 4:30 with Lester Holt, Linda McLennan, Steve Baskerville with weather, and Corey McFerrin on sports.
This little guy is so excited about the new year at Arrow Chevrolet and Geo, he's doing a victory dance already. Once again, the all-pro team at Arrow is taking center court for a new season of savings. We'll be offering our best prices on over 800 new Chevrolets, like this new 94 S10 pickup for only $91.94, and this new 94 Cavalier VL two-door for just $85.94. Be sure to stop in soon for better selection, bigger savings, and no waiting. Arrow Chevrolet and Geo and Arrow Chrysler Plymouth, both at 147th and Cicero.
Run to Burlington Coat Factory's wild and crazy Washington's Birthday Sale for hundreds of items at giveaway prices. Silk blouses and suede skirts, a shocking $9.95 each. Great-looking leather jackets, a wild $59.90. Wool and wool blend suits, an incredible $89.90. Washable silk or nylon jog suits, a crazy $29.90. Mighty Mac warm-down jackets marked way down to $39.90. And there's lots more at Burlington Coat Factory's Washington's Birthday Sale, now through Monday.
I'm Pam Zeckman. This is part of a multi-million-dollar system that was supposed to save the schools money, but it's not working. The results of our investigation tonight at 6.
This President's Day, Harlem Furniture is making history with 4 incredible days of half-off savings. During Harlem Furniture's President's Day sale, now through Monday, save up to half off in every department. Save half off on living rooms, half off on dining rooms, half off on bedrooms, half off on leather, CD mattresses, entertainment centers, and more. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to save up to half off on top quality furnishings. Get to Harlem Furniture's President's Day sale now before your chance to save is history. Harlem Furniture, you'll like our style.
A little lesson in upward mobility. With rear-wheel drive, even cars with optional traction control can have trouble in bad weather.
Hey, you, call me a tow truck.
You're a tow truck. The Cadillac Seville SLS with the North Star system gives you the luxury of traction. And here's a winter savings special that'll stop you in your tracks. The $499 a month smart lease. The smartest lease ever on a 94 Seville. The SLS, it's king of the hill.
Bullets fly, cars race down the street, and a young man is killed. A police officer shot and killed the man near 51st and South St. Lawrence, but details are still sketchy. Channel 2's Lauren Green is live on the scene now, and she can tell us more. Lauren?
Well, Lester, this happened less than a block away from middle school, just down there, and it happened just about the time that school was letting out. But here's the information we have right now. We know that a youth has been shot and killed here at 5034 South St. Lawrence. Unconfirmed reports say a police officer shot him. Witnesses around the area are saying the same things, although police have not confirmed that. The details why or the circumstances are still unclear. One woman said she just heard shots.
I heard the Buddhists, but you know, there's so much going on in these, when I come back on this low end, I just don't pay no type of attention, so I just kept walking. I don't know how many Buddhists was.
What did you hear now?
I heard the Buddhists, and I heard the cars chasing. Like I said, I thought they was chasing somebody, or chasing somebody in a car. I didn't know all this had happened until I came back.
Of course, this story is still developing, and we are continuing to follow it. We'll bring you more later on Channel 2 News. Reporting live, Lauren Green, Channel 2 News.
All right, Lauren, thanks. A former commodities broker who is charged with the murder of his ex-wife says he didn't do it, and now his family is going to offer a $10,000 reward for the conviction of the actual killer. 38-year-old Jane Kelly was fatally stabbed in her Naperville townhouse in 1991. Her 12-year-old daughter discovered her body when the child returned home from school. Jane Kelly's former husband, James, was charged with arranging her murder and held in the DuPage County Jail for 2 years before he was released on bond last summer. James Kelly's trial has been delayed by legal wrangling. While he's out of jail, his assets have been frozen and he's lost his job.
This evening, Chicago's Streets and Sanitation Department is promising that the trash problem some of the city's schools have been experiencing will soon be cleared up. Trash has been piling up in about 100 schools across the city because the trucks that come to pick it up are falling apart. Instead of buying new trucks, the city is retrofitting its regular garbage trucks and buying new trash bins for the school. But the trucks won't be ready for about a month, and the city has to make do with the old trucks until those new ones are ready.
Coming up in the next half hour of the Channel 2 News at 4:30, we're going to tell you why there will be no criminal charges from the commuter train crash in Gary that killed 7 people. Then 2 boys accused of trashing schools in Evergreen Park run up against a very tough judge. And she's a very tough businesswoman who also has a huge heart when it comes to helping others. A profile of Christy Hefner, one of Chicago's most powerful women. All that's coming up in our next half hour.
A young girl is left home alone for months. 12-year-old Robin Hall says she's lived alone in an unheated Pennsylvania house for 3 months. Robin's mother abandoned her to be with her fugitive husband. The girl was discovered by police huddled near a space heater in her bedroom after receiving a tip from a relative. The child's mother, 46-year-old Phyllis Hall, has surrendered to police. She now faces charges of endangering the welfare of a child. Right now, the 12-year-old girl is living with her brother in a nearby town. Joan?
She knew she was going to have a tough time, but the first woman to break the gender barrier at a state-run military school probably did not count on having obscenities and racial slurs hurled at her. Shannon Faulkner says some male cadets at the Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina, have been trying to make her life miserable. And the school's newspaper has called her the Divine Bovine and Shrew Shannon. The school denies there's been any harassment.
Coming up next, a pilot in trouble. He makes a crash landing with firefighters rushing to the rescue.
Also ahead, boxes and boxes of Girl Scout cookies, and they all belong to one woman after she makes an embarrassing mistake.
I'm Al Piemonte at Al Piemonte Ford in Melrose Park. I've just ordered 350 brand new 94 Temples for a special financing program we're offering. Right now, you can get a brand new Temple for only $6,775 for 36 months, and they're fully equipped. Automatic transmission, air conditioning, steering, brakes, stereo radio, fully equipped for $6,775. And that's your total to drive it for 3 years with no down payment, but only at the original Al Piemonte Ford in Melrose Park.
I'm having trouble seeing. I keep changing glasses, but it doesn't seem to help.
If you have a vision problem, it could be cataracts. Call Eye Care Physicians of America. Our ophthalmologists have treated more patients and performed more cataract procedures than anyone else in the Midwest. We pick you up and take you home the same day, and we accept Medicare assignment.
That's what I'm going to do. See a good, experienced eye doctor.
1-800-EYE-CARE. Call now.
Watch your savings pile up during Silo's Great President's Day sale. This Friday through Monday only, get 0% financing on the great names in appliances, TVs, and home audio. This Friday through Monday only, get special President's Day savings in every department throughout the store. All this, plus Silo's unbeatable low price guarantee. But hurry, Silo's Great President's Day sale ends Monday. Silo, where low price is guaranteed.
Call 1-800-76-ALASKA. If you've got what it takes, you can make it to the top.
The pilot of this small-engine plane is forced to make a dangerous belly landing at a Colorado airport after discovering that his landing gear was broken. Sparks flew from beneath the plane as it skidded down the runway and came to an abrupt stop. By the time the pilot got out, a fire had started underneath the airplane's wing. Firefighters eventually put those flames out, and it's a miracle, many say, that the pilot wasn't hurt.
A dramatic rescue at sea over the Gulf of Mexico after a small plane makes an emergency water landing. The Coast Guard says 40-year-old James Rich set his autopilot and fell asleep. When Rich woke up, he was 80 miles off course. The plane had run out of fuel. He was forced to crash land in the Gulf. Luckily, the Coast Guard heard his mayday call and rescued Rich with a raft. The pilot was taken to a hospital. He was not seriously hurt.
It's 10 to 5. Time now for a check on our rush hour traffic on this gorgeous Friday. Chris Habermel's live in Chopper 2. Chris?
Well, Joan, it's gorgeous up here, but not below. Look at this. Big problems on the Stevenson tonight. An 18-wheel semi rolled over at the bottom of the ramp from the southbound tri-state to the inbound side. It's laying on its left side in the two right lanes inbound. It's a mess. Solid before Route 83 to the accident inbound, just west of the tri-state. And the outbound side's packed in from First Avenue all the way out with gapers. Tow trucks just arrived. They should have it out of here within the next hour to an hour and a half. Live over the Stevenson near Burr Ridge, I'm Chris Habermel for Shadow Traffic, Channel 2 News. Joan and Lester.
All right, Chris, thanks a lot. Stories making headlines around the nation in today's Dateline. Atlanta, Georgia. Singer Bobby Brown is arrested for apparently not paying hundreds of dollars in parking tickets. The singer, who is also the husband of superstar Whitney Houston, left quietly with police along with his bodyguards. Brown had no comment for the press.
Miami Beach, Florida. A newborn baby girl is delivered at a hospital, but not by a doctor. The baby's mother left her on the hospital steps wrapped in a blanket. Police believe the child's mother works in the medical field because of the way the blanket was wrapped. Doctors say the baby is in good condition. Charleston, South Carolina, a serious case of indigestion for a woman who's sitting on 17 cases of Girl Scout cookies. Scout leader Diana McIntosh says her order got mixed up and she wound up with too many cookies. She's already sold 75 cases but can't unload the rest, and the Girl Scouts won't take them back. Put them in our newsroom.
Yeah, that's
Gone
it.
in 5 minutes.
But
I
she
guarantee
wants
you.
the money for them, too.
Oh,
Let's
that's
get,
right. I forgot that part.
let's get a check now on our weather.
The money's a different story. Yeah. Well, you got plans for going out Friday night. The weather shouldn't ruin them at all. So with that in mind, enjoy the warmest day of 1994. 56 degrees this afternoon. It is the warmest it's been all day long at this hour. South winds at 16 miles an hour, so it is breezy outside. The rest of the night should be cloudy. That's the only downside of it all. Mild temperatures in the 50s. By the way, the clouds are here first, then the rain. I'll let you know all about that when it's coming in about 25 minutes. Here's Lester.
All right, Steve, thank you. Setback in court today for the man they call the suicide doctor, Jack Kevorkian. A judge ordered Kevorkian to stand trial for assisting in the suicide of Thomas Hyde, a 30-year-old victim of Lou Gehrig's disease. Kevorkian had asked the judge to throw the case out of court. Kevorkian is charged under a law that a judge has declared unconstitutional, but the state of Michigan is appealing that ruling.
Coming up next, a little girl spends most of her life in a hospital, but today doctors have some news that everyone has been waiting to hear.
I think that we are a complete team, and everybody respects me.
Tanya Harding breaks her silence, and the world is there to listen. The story coming up in the next half hour on Channel 2 News at 4:30.
Empire's Good News Carpet Sale is a real challenge. Well, it is a lot to choose from. New carpets, new styles, new colors, all at 20 to 60% off, including padding and next-day installation. Even same day with Empire Express service. And no interest or monthly payments till July. Some people might have trouble making a decision.
Well, I don't think that's so difficult.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
588-2300 Empire.
It's Buick's Auto Show Rollout.